The point is to enjoy, to feel delighted in, to experience bliss right now in this moment, not to try and chase what we've been told is the most blissful sexual experience. Hello, you gorgeous and sexy creature. Welcome to Practice Intimacy. This is the place to be to learn all about love, sex, and how to have the best relationships you possibly can. My name is Jami Lynn. My name is Jami Lynn. I am a marriage and family therapist, and we are going to talk about orgasm. Okay. First off, what is an orgasm? An orgasm is a release of built-up energy. So I'm thinking about the way that whenever you're being sexual, everything can start to get tight and electric and like really shaky and all of that. And then the orgasm is usually this big release where everything shakes real big. There's usually lots of sound, and all the tension that you've built up finally lets go into a wave of pleasure that moves throughout your body, and then it dissipates. And most of the time, whenever people have the orgasm, then they're done. That's not true for everyone. Some people can immediately go back into like moving towards pleasure again, staying in the stimulation and all of that. But many people are too sensitive after an orgasm, or they just need a rest. Like you have the peak and then you're in the refractory period and your body needs to recover before it can come back into being aroused. And orgasm is great. There's nothing wrong with it. Go have as many orgasms as you want. They're fun. But here's the problem. The problem is most people have come to associate sex with orgasm, and if an orgasm does not happen, there's something wrong. And so what this video is going to be about is one, why that's problematic, and then two, how to shift out of that thinking and into thinking that is going to serve you a little bit more in terms of having a really hot, lovely sex life. So let's start with the first one. Why is this problematic? Why is it problematic to associate sex with orgasm and really make orgasm the goal of being sexual? One is it puts pressure on you to get there, and anytime you put pressure on yourself, you are creating an environment of anxiety inside, and anxiety is not sexy. Anyone who has performance issues because they're attempting to get to orgasm can tell you what that is like. If you are attempting to force yourself to get there, usually what happens is frustration that you haven't arrived, anxiety that you're taking too long, things like that, which is not sexy and not fun. And the point of sex is to be sexy and fun. So what are we doing? The other potential problem, so it could be happening inside of you where you're working towards orgasm. You imagine orgasm is the goal, and either anxiety is coming up because you're not getting there fast enough, or frustration is coming up because you're not getting there fast enough. But then on the receiving end of it, if you're with a person who is expecting orgasm to be the goal, then one of two things can happen. Either they will orgasm and then sex is done and you're like, what was that? I wanted more. I was not finished. Or they're expecting you to orgasm and maybe you're not in the space where you want that, or maybe your body does not enjoy that the most or even do that. Some people have not experienced an orgasm in their lifetime. From what I can tell in the research, physiologically, for almost everyone, orgasm is possible. And what's happening if you're not having an orgasm is that something internal is being blocked inside of you. Usually some emotional process is blocking that from happening. But there's actually nothing wrong with not having an orgasm. There's nothing wrong with that so long as you enjoy everything you are doing, because orgasm is not the goal. But if you're with someone who has the expectation of orgasm and you don't, that pressure to perform might feel really uncomfortable to you. it might lead to a less positive sexual experience because you're feeling this pressure that you're supposed to do something that's not happening. And then again, on the other side is that frustration of if you're orgasm focused and an orgasm happens and then sex is done, you're like, I wasn't finished, what now? That's also frustrating. So those are the reasons why orgasm as the goal of sex is potentially problematic. And then the other thing I would say about this is sex takes a while for most people. Like, it can take anywhere from 5 minutes to 20 minutes to an hour to a few hours if you're doing some tantra stuff or some kink stuff. And if you make orgasm the goal of sex, what you're doing is you're almost rushing through the experience of reaching that point. You're moving towards orgasm as quickly as you can because that's the goal. And then you have it, but it lasts like maybe 10 seconds. For most people, it's around like 2 to 5 seconds that an orgasm lasts. And then for some people, like upwards of 10 seconds. And so I'm just going to use 20 minutes as an example. You're doing all these things for 20 minutes just to experience a 10-second release. And then the other reason why I'm like, orgasm, is because truly it's just a release of pent-up sexual energy. That's all it is. It's just pent-up sexual energy releasing in your body in a big wash. And sure, it feels good. But is it everything? No, it is not. What I actually think the point of sex and the internal shift you can make rather than being orgasm focused is to be pleasure focused. Where instead of attempting to reach this goal of having an orgasm, you stay really present. Who cares whether we have an orgasm? That does not matter. What matters is, are we both, or all of us, depending on what kind of relationship you're in, are we having a great experience? Is it pleasurable for us right here, right now, not trying to reach some other state of being, but just feeling whatever is right now? And when you have sex like that, you go from having moments of peak pleasure to having extended peak pleasure, where maybe 20 minutes you're having a full body experience that is as hot as having an orgasm, but it's lingering, it's lasting longer. There's like waves of pleasure moving through you rather than one big bang of pleasure moving through you. And this is often what people refer to as like tantric sex, where in the sexual experience, you're just feeling for your pleasure. You're just following whatever feels good in your body and enjoying that without the attachment to coming at the end of that. That's not the point of it. The point is to enjoy, to feel delighted in, to experience bliss right now in this moment, not to try and chase what we've been told is the most blissful sexual experience. Because it's not always. Some people don't even enjoy having orgasms. They much prefer having the waves of pleasure and staying in the experience rather than having a because that's usually what happens in people's bodies, is a big up, the climax, the orgasm, which lasts a short period of time, and then a bit of a crash. I think men in particular experience this because their refractory period is so much longer than a person with a vulva. And again, I'm not saying that's the wrong way to have sex. Like, if you're going to orgasm, orgasm. If you enjoy it, enjoy it. But making that the point of being sexual actually limits the amount of pleasure that is possible. You can experience more pleasure, and I would even argue more intimacy, because you're staying present and connected and just flowing with whatever feels good rather than chasing a particular thing and trying to get to the end And so there's more pleasure and more intimacy in the experiences where you allow yourself to just feel, and follow your pleasure and not worry about outcome. And I would say that's probably true in all of life. I could say that about anything, like follow your pleasure, enjoy what you're experiencing. It's the journey, not the ending, that matters, because the ending is short, whereas the journey takes a long time. So this is a good life lesson, but just apply it to your sex life too. We hear this all the time, like allow yourself to enjoy the journey, because the journey is going to take much longer than the arrival. True in sex, true in life. And if you would like to read a whole book about this idea, not focusing on orgasm and instead focusing on pleasure, one of my favorites is Sexual Intelligence by Marty Klein. It is a wonderful book. He likens it to food, where you have a 13-course meal, but all you care about is dessert. And instead shift to enjoying all of it, not just dessert orgasm at the end. And yeah, it's a good read. I definitely suggest it. I bet you would enjoy it because it's got some good stuff in there, a lot of nuggets of wisdom. Okay, I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Please leave me comments. Tell me what you think about this idea of shifting your focus from orgasm to pleasure, because pleasure is everything. Not really. Disclaimer, it's not everything, but it is nice and it's important. And if you're going to have sex, it's better to focus on that. I lost my train of thought because I started getting silly. Leave me comments. Remember to subscribe to this channel, like this video, share it with people who you love, share it with people you want to have sex with as a little hint. Hey, you want to get down? And I will see you next time. Bye for now.